Hello, my science lovers. This is the next episode of ScientistMel Shorts where I talk about internet trolls. So, if you're a person who's short on time but enjoy science, this is one of my episodes, the science of condensed down into a shorter version. And we just get to the nitty gritty. So, let's go ahead and get started. So today we are going to talk about the science of trolls. So what are trolls? They're individuals on the internet who sow discord, make inflammatory comments. Sometimes the topics or they'll comment off topic, and they can lead to abuse. Some trolls are harmless, some are harmful, and some can lead to harassment. So I'm going to show some of the examples of trolls that we have. But I'm going to focus primarily on the ones that lead to harassment and are abusive. So on Smosh.com, they have their own little names for various types of trolls, anywhere from a rabid flamer to a stalker to an expert who's overconfident and they're really not an expert. We have profane screamers, never give up sorts, bored hater, self-feeding, Nelly Negersons. So if you go on Smosh.com, and if you're curious about any of the sources that I cite on this particular broadcast, you can go to ScientistMel.com and download the entire slideshow and dig in a bit further about the studies that I discuss in this particular episode. So trolls, for the more problematic trolls that lead to harassment and abuse, we look at the types of individuals they are. They can be narcissists, sadists, psychopaths, and even sociopaths. So I'm going to talk about a particular study that has been reported, and they were curious about trolls. So trolls will lie, exaggerate, and even offend individuals in order to get a response. Psychology Today reported on a study to find out what trolls have in common in regards to psyche. Canadian researchers conducted 2 online studies with over 1,200 people, giving personality tests to each subject, along with a survey about their internet commenting behavior. They wanted evidence that linked trolling with what we call the dark tetrad of personality traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. Dark tetrad scores were highest among people who state trolling as their favorite internet activity. Now, their scores were substantial for all 4 traits. Trolls are sadistic, narcissistic, with psychopathic tendencies. So the particular trolls that I'm going to focus on are the never give up, retroactive stalker, liar, stalker, fraud, sharing troll, and self-feeding. What are these types of individuals? Never give up is just that. They keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. Oh, God. Retroactive stalkers will comb through all of your social media and try to find information about you, and then they'll comment on years old things where they're like, oh, I'm going to focus on this. The liar, well, they lie a lot. And then you have really creepy stalkers that'll go through and try to get information about you and learn everything that they can about you, even your work, your job, just going through all of your social media for that. The fraud is the individual who will take that information about you and use it against you. And they will also present themselves as somebody else entirely. Sharing trolls dox you. They post all of your personal information about you on various platforms. Self-feeding trolls are particularly favorites of narcissists because they're the ones that generate all kinds of different sock accounts and will talk to each other and agree with that particular person's tweet, blog post, video, whatever. They'll make so many sock accounts just to feed their ego. So these are the type of trolls that I'm going to talk about and why it is that they're problematic. Now, these individuals can become a dangerous mix of characteristics in regards to personal safety. So we're going to talk about what happens with these sorts of things, with these sorts of individuals. Now, pewinternet.org. Now, if this goes far, if any of those particular trolls overlap and kind of start in on you, there's a lot of different things that can happen with that, and it can lead to abuse and harassment. So pewinternet.org took an internet harassment survey for 2017. 4 in 10 U.S. adults have personally experienced harassing or abusive behavior online. 18% have been the target of severe behavior, such as physical threats and sexual harassment. Harassment is often focused on personal or physical characteristics. Political views, gender, physical appearance, and race are among the most common. 14% of U.S. adults say they have been harassed online specifically because of their political views, while roughly 1 in 10 have been targeted due to their physical appearance, race, or gender. Somewhat smaller shares have been targeted for other reasons, such as their religion. That's about 5%, or sexual orientation for 3%. There are certain groups that are more likely than others to experience trait-based harassment. 1 in 4 blacks say they have been targeted with harassment online because of their race or ethnicity, as have 1 in 10 Hispanics. Whites have a low 3%. Now, if we look at women, women are about twice as likely as men to say they have been targeted because of their gender, women at 11% versus men at 5%. Men, however, are around twice as likely as women to say they have experienced harassment online as a result of their political views. That's 19 versus 10. It's interesting, though. Equal shares of Republicans and Democrats have reported harassment. Americans are widely aware of the issue of online harassment. About 62% consider it a major problem. Online companies are seen as key factors in addressing this online harassment. They're pretty much divided on the issues of free speech and political correctness that underlie the online harassment debate. Now, if we dig down into this, 45% of Americans say it is more important to let people speak their minds freely, but a larger share, 53%, feel it's more important for people to feel welcome and safe. Again, around the 40s, 43% of Americans say that offensive speech online is too often excused as not being a big deal. But a large 56% feel that many people take offensive content too seriously. Now, among young men, 73% of young men between the ages of 18 to 29 feel that many people take offensive online content too seriously. So that's kind of interesting. And again, just to refresh, I'm citing these stats from the study given by pewinternet.org. And if you want to dig down in that study, it's available on my website, ScientistMel.com. Now, experiences and attitudes toward online harassment vary significantly by gender. 44% of men and 37% of women have experienced at least one of the 6 behaviors this particular study uses to define online harassment. In terms of specific experiences, men, 30%, are modestly more likely than women, 23%, to have been called offensive names online or to have received physical threats. That's about 12% versus 8%. Now, 21% of women ages 18 to 29 report being sexually harassed online. Now, men in the same age group, they get about 9%. Now, 53% of young women ages 18 to 29 say that someone has sent them explicit images they did not ask for. 35% of women who have experienced any type of online harassment describe their most recent incident as either extremely or very upsetting, and about twice the share of young men. So 16% of young men experience extremely or very upsetting incidents. So men have a higher rate of believing policies and tools from online companies are effective in addressing online harassment, while women are more likely to say stronger laws are the most effective approach. Additionally, 46% of women feel law enforcement does not take online harassment seriously versus a small 39% of men. Now, something that's interesting about this, and I think a lot of people can agree with this, and Pew actually backs it up with data. Anonymity is seen as a facilitating factor in encouraging the spread of harassment online. So, again, I'm focusing on problematic trolls that lead to abuse. Let's keep this in mind. 86% of online adults feel that the internet allows people to be more anonymous than is true offline. That is up 24% for Pew Research's 2014 survey. Now, 54% of those harassed say their most recent incident involved someone whose real identity they did not know. So, it's not quite 50-50, but it's a little bit more than that. So more often than not, the people who are doing the harassing are people that you don't know their identity. 89% of Americans say the ability to post anonymously online enables people to be cruel or to harass one another. So the majority of Americans do see that the ability to be anonymous online encourages cruelty and harassment to other individuals. I'm going to post a particular graph for you. This is from Pew Internet Research. Now, something interesting about this. Those who have faced severe forms of online harassment differ in experiences and reactions and attitudes. So if we look at this particular graph, the majority of percentages here include severe types of behaviors, where it's involving physical appearance, gender, race, ethnicity, political views, and there's been emotional stress involved with this, problems with friends or family, and even damaging to an individual's reputation, which can lead to work problems. Now, what's interesting at the bottom, there's a percentage of people who say they have ever done one of the following after witnessing online harassment. And so we're seeing a large percentage of people change their behaviors and actually engage and will flag offensive tweets, content, comments, whatever, as problematic. So we've got reported user to a website or platform, stopped using an online service. This is interesting. 30% of people who have seen harassment online have stopped using an online service. So this kind of brings up my next little point that I want to kind of make. If we're dealing with problematic trolls, we're seeing individuals actually modify what they say, what they post, how they engage, and they'll even change their privacy settings after they witness somebody harassing somebody else. So 28% set up or adjust privacy settings. 27% choose to not even say something after they've seen harassment. And so that kind of poses the issues of, is it really free speech if you're actually modifying your behavior so you don't get harassed? Food for thought, but it's still fascinating nonetheless. So kind of going back and rounding out a bit of this study that Pew did. 26% of adults have had untrue information about them posted online, most commonly about their character or reputation. Half of those who had untrue information posted about them tried to get the inaccurate claims removed or corrected. And around 1 in 10 Americans say they have experienced mental or emotional stress because of something untrue posted about them online. Large majorities of internet users have heard about hacking. So if we're talking about hacking, we're talking about 90% of people have heard about it, and 86% have heard about trolling. And 18% each have personally been hacked or trolled. Doxing, that is posting someone's personal information online without their consent, and swatting, which refers to calling in a fake emergency to the police, are recognized by smaller shares of the online population. So only 73% and 55% respectively know about these types of behaviors. But this is kind of a bit of what trolls do sometimes, and so it's important to kind of arm yourself. So if we're looking at this, we know that when we deal with trolling in regards to where it becomes abuse, It can cause mental and emotional stress. It can damage your reputation, your relationships, cause job and school problems, and even offline consequences. And so these particular trolls that have these sock accounts that go and get your personal information, that go through all of your social media, that are fraudulent and post inflammatory comments about you that aren't true, or even put your personal information up. This can cause problems for you. This is a very real problem and a very real issue for individuals. So how do we combat this? Sometimes it's best to not engage. Don't engage. And if it becomes severe, keep records. Be certain to report all abuse. And others can help with this. And I'll go back and say it again. Keep records. I've been a victim of stalking to a degree, and then I have excellent records, even a 17-page document that shows all of the forms of when this particular internet person stalked me. And their friends and their sock accounts. It happens. Lock your personal accounts until you feel safe. Contact authorities and start a paper trail. It's important that you do, at least if you don't feel comfortable talking to the police, talk to a lawyer and start a paper trail with a lawyer, because that can help too. Arm yourself with knowledge and try to understand why these trolls do these things, and know what your rights are and know how to protect yourself. So what are trolls? They sow discord, inflammatory comments, off topic sometimes, but the thing that I focused on is when they become abusive. They can lead to harassment. Harassment leads to damage, and the damage can be substantial. So make certain you protect yourself in regards to trolls and potential abusive situations. Now, here's some of my sources, and you probably can't see these right now, but you can go on my website and check out all of these different sites that I have there. They're there for you to use, for you to peruse, and to dig down a bit further. That's ScientistMel.com. I want to take a minute to thank my patrons. If you like what I do, please consider contributing to my Patreon. I also have a paypal.me/ScientistMel. If you want to just drop me a few bucks here, they help me keep the lights on and help me do what I do. They get access to exclusive content, as well as artwork and early access to my audio podcast, Hey Scientist Mel. So thank you, Tony, James, Lauren, Jen, Carl, Melanie, Patrick, Daniel, Paula, Tim, Carrie, Cersei, Keith, Zachary, Tony, Graham, Dragnot, Godless Iowan, Jennifer, Corey, and Heavy. Thank you for helping me do what I do. It means the world to me, and because of your contributions, I'm able to do more shows and increase my quality of content. You can find me everywhere on the internet: ScientistMel.com, Patreon.com, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, and that has been the Science of Internet Trolls short version. If you haven't subscribed, give that a go, and if you like what I do, watch another video. Up my hours of viewing. Thank you so much, my science lovers. Sending you squishy science hugs. Have a fantastic day.